So let's get to know more about augmented reality now. So the history of augmented reality dates back to 1968, when Evan Sutherland, an American computer scientist and a pioneer of computer graphics, created the first head-mounted display, and this paved way for augmented reality. The term augmented reality was coined by Boeing researcher Tom Caudle in the year 1990, and one of the first functioning AR systems, called the virtual fixtures, was developed at the United States Air Force Research Laboratory in the year 1992. Later, in the year 1998, augmented reality was used for navigation of a NASA's spacecraft. So during the early 2000s, the launch of smartphones accelerated the growth of augmented reality. And in the year 2008, BMW, the famous car maker, made use of augmented reality for commercial purposes. In the year 2016, Niantic and Nintendo launched Pokemon Go, a hugely popular location-based AR game that put augmented reality in the mainstream map. So, as of 2017, the number of augmented reality users in the United States hit 37 million. And as per the recent data, by 2023, there will be an estimated 2.4 billion mobile augmented reality users across the world. So in the screen, you have the definition of augmented reality. So let's put a definition here. So what is augmented reality? Augmented reality is a form of technology where computer generated graphics is superimposed with the real physical world, where users can interact with these computer generated graphics. So these graphics are generally 2D and 3D models. And the famous example for an augmented reality application is the Pokemon Go game. Another example of augmented reality are the face filters you use on Snapchat and on Instagram. So I'm sure you all have used it, where you have an alien face or a bunny animation that is superimposed on your face. So this is a very good example of augmented reality. And another example of augmented reality is, I'm sure you all have watched the recently concluded IPL matches. So before starting the match, you have this countdown which starts on top of the ground, which says 5, 4, 3, 2, 1 on a drone. So that is superimposed graphics on the real cricket ground. So that is an example of augmented reality. Augmented reality and virtual reality are often confused terms, and most people believe they are the same. The approach towards building an augmented reality and virtual reality application is pretty much the same. However, there are some differences between AR and VR. In AR, the computer generated content is superimposed with the real world, while virtual reality is an immersive experience. So the best example for a virtual reality application would be in the malls where you have gone to the playing arena. You would have seen people wearing head-mounted displays, mostly HTC Vive or Oculus, where the user is given immersive experience and you literally cannot come out of that experience. So that is an example of virtual reality. While in augmented reality, the contents can be compared with real world objects in terms of size, color, and shape. But in VR, this comparison cannot be done. So, for example, if you have a furniture application where you try to place a chair in the real world, you can compare the 3D chair with the actual real world chair. So, this is a very good example of AR application. Augmented reality can be implemented across various industries for multiple purposes, from manufacturing to marketing and also pre-visualizations. The image on the right shows you the Google search for augmented reality. and you can see the long list of suggestions given by Google. So going forward, let's see a few applications of augmented reality in various industries. Let's begin with the automobile industry. The first use of augmented reality in commercial marketing was done by the famous car maker BMW. Not only in marketing, augmented reality can also be used at various sectors of the automobile industry. So let's try and take an example of a virtual showroom. So generally, if you want to buy a car, we all have to go and visit the nearest showroom. And to set up this showroom, a lot of cost has gone into building a showroom, the real estate, manpower, and also a lot of running costs. So imagine in this place if there was an augmented reality application. You don't really need this showroom. The physical showroom is not required. You will be cutting a lot of cost. So what would happen is you can look at the car in real world size using this augmented reality application, and you can do the purchase decision at the comfort of your home. And let's take another example that you are trying to customize your vehicle. Let's say you want to change the color of the car. So generally what we would do is we would go to a vendor and we would say paint my car red, and red has different shades. So to bridge this gap between the customer and the vendor, if there was an augmented reality application, you can actually change the color of the car, change the color of your alloys, and pre-visualize it before making a decision, before spending a lot, and also you can save time by doing this. A lot of brands like BMW, Volkswagen, Ford have all used AR for multiple purposes. So another application where we can use augmented reality is healthcare. So imagine a scenario when the doctor is not available. Maybe the doctor is in a surgery or for some reason is not available to attend a patient. In this case, a nurse or a junior doctor should be able to do the basic first aid for the patient. Using an augmented reality application, the instructions can be passed to the nurse via this augmented reality applications so that the basic first aid could be done before the doctor is available. And let's take another example of medical students trying to learn or understand the human body. They generally dissect the body. And if the student makes a small mistake or wants to understand something better, then the student would require a different body, and this might take a lot of time and a lot of effort goes into getting this body assigned to this student. So in this place, imagine if there was a augmented reality application where you have a virtual body. The student can take this application home at the comfort of him sitting at his couch. He can try and do the dissection. He can try and understand and learn things better. Like you can see the picture on the right, where a person is explaining stuff to another person using an augmented reality application. Maybe they're using a wearable device. Now, let's take another scenario where the doctor is trying to explain a complicated surgery or a problem to a patient. The patient might not understand what the doctor is explaining. In this place, an AR or VR application would help the doctor explain the surgery, a problem to the patient using pictures, animations, and also by interacting with the 3D world in the application. Augmented reality can be used in the manufacturing sector at various stages of production. So let's discuss a few examples of how we can use augmented reality in manufacturing a product. Augmented reality can be used in the design phase of a product. An engineer who is responsible for the design can use augmented reality to pitch the idea of the design to his or her peers and the boss. The others can give quick feedback on the design, and all of this can be done in a quick turnaround time. And also using hardwares like the Microsoft's HoloLens or Magic Leap, etc., the designs can be built collaboratively while making changes in real time. So this would enhance the productivity of the employees as well. In the manufacturing industries, a lot of training sessions will be conducted for the effective functioning of the production pipeline. In order to conduct these trainings, a senior person is required. So, for example, let's take a two-wheeler assembly plant where somebody is trying to explain his juniors about how the engine would work. So we need a senior resource there who is expensive at the first place, and his time is being spent in a very unproductive way where he's trying to train a junior resource. And this can be done using an augmented reality application. You don't need this senior executive. Instead, you can use him for a different purpose, while the junior can take the augmented reality application. Using the instructions given in the application, he can learn how the engine is working. So this would improve efficiency in the pipeline, and the production quality can also be improved. Augmented reality can be used in constructions as well. With the augmented reality, the buildings can be pre-visualized before it is being built. A lot of industries these days use augmented reality to pre-visualize their production assembly. This helps them to arrive at a better space management and a design decision. So before you can actually build all the beams, put down all your mortar, tar, cement, everything, you can use augmented reality to exactly see where your office space would be, where your machineries would be, and you can make a good design decision there, and also you can manage space much efficiently. So I spoke about a lot of applications of augmented reality in different industries, and these were few examples. There are a number of examples and number of opportunities to use augmented reality across different industries. Now let's try to understand how to create an augmented reality application and what are the skills required to create an augmented reality application. So one should definitely know programming. Programming skill is a must for any form of application development, and AR is no different. Knowing languages like C++ and C Sharp is a good starting point. To build serious applications that can be scaled requires a strong understanding of programming concepts like object-oriented programming, algorithms, and data structures. And I personally believe that knowing to code is like having a superpower. And soon programming is going to be a skill that everyone should have. And a strong understanding of 3D space and 3D mathematics is important because the world we are going to interact within an augmented reality application is a three-dimensional space. And it is important to know 3D mathematics and 3D space. So most of us generally fear mathematics and programming. Though we have the interest, sometimes it is intimidating to learn programming and mathematics. Generally, programming is like music. To master it, we need to keep practicing it. It is impossible to learn programming just by reading or learning the concepts. You need to practice it by solving problems, creating small applications, and you will generally, get better at it as days go by. Augmented reality is all about superimposing the 3D graphic with the real world. The better the graphic content, the better the look and feel of your application. The skills required to create awesome graphic is 3D modeling and art. Knowing how to create the 3D and 2D contents puts you in a good place to create a realistic looking augmented reality application. There are a number of softwares out there in the market to learn 3D modeling and 2D content creation. Softwares like Blender, Maya, and 3ds Max are good places to start with for 3D content creation. And Photoshop and GIMP are some good softwares to learn 2D content creation as well. Sometimes, it's not possible to have both these skills, programming and art creation. That's why companies hire two different teams, an engineering team for programming and an art team for 3D and 2D content creation. But if you are a programmer and not interested in learning the 3D and 2D softwares, it's important to know the basics, at least so that the application development becomes easy and the programmer can get exactly what he or she wants from the artists. Lastly, one must be passionate about the technology and should have the willingness to learn new things. As augmented reality is relatively new and booming, the rate at which the technology is growing is immense, and one should be updated about the new developments in the space to have an edge over the others. So it's important to have the willingness to learn and explore and research a lot. So with these skills, you can create an augmented reality application. Unity 3D is one of the popular game engines, and it is a good place to start your journey as an augmented reality developer. Companies like Apple and Google have created APIs that can be used to create augmented reality applications for Android and iOS. Apple's AR Kit and Google's AR Core are some good APIs that are available, which can be used in Unity 3D to create awesome augmented reality applications. So there are different types of augmented reality applications: marker-based AR application, markerless AR application, and location-based AR applications. Let's try to understand what these three are. In marker-based AR application, the digital world is anchored to the real world. A marker can be anything as long as it has unique visual points. Images with a lot of corners and edges work very well. So typical examples of markers are print media such as logos, packaging, posters, or QR codes. In markerless AR, the user moves the virtual objects. So let's imagine an augmented reality application that can place virtual furniture inside your living room. This allows you to try different combinations of objects. So you can place the chair or furniture on top of a table or on your floor as well. So this is markerless. You don't really need a marker to place your object. The third thing, location-based augmented reality, is the virtual world is a physical space. So location-based augmented reality ties content to a specific location. So imagine walking in a street you're not so familiar with, and through your phone's camera, seeing a virtual road sign or displaying a street's name. This is location-based AR. So the best example is Pokemon Go. In Pokemon Go, you had characters in different geolocations, and people had to move across the streets to find these characters. So Pokemon Go is a very good example of location-based AR applications. Okay, so the job opportunity is augmented reality. So according to researches and studies, the AR industry is about to grow to 100 billion US dollars by 2024. So there is definitely a lot of opportunities across different industries, and a good starting point would be to understand programming, start building applications using game engines and APIs that are readily available. Companies like, in the healthcare sector are looking a lot for developers who can build augmented reality applications. Generally, game developers can also build augmented reality applications. So game development is also a good place to start with for augmented reality. So opportunities are definitely there. And after the COVID-19 effects, people don't really want to go out and purchase things physically. Instead, you can look at all of this in your free time in your application itself. So there is definitely a lot of scope for augmented reality in the future. So with that, I'm coming to the end of the presentation.